Alright, we're going to do a little bit of math here. Really quickly, these are the operators for math. This is multiplication, that's division, this is subtraction, this is addition. And then there's also this special character called the modulus operator, which is the percent sign. So let's go ahead and just see how all of these guys work. So I'm just going to use console.writeLine for all of these. So we're going to say x plus 6. We'll do that, console.writeLine. And we're going to do x minus 6. Do console.writeLine. We'll do x divided by 2. We'll also do x times 2. And then we're going to do an x modulus 2. Actually, I'm going to change this to 3. I think that'll be good. And then we'll want to add back our read key function. I'm going to go ahead and start this up again and see the results. So 14 plus 6 is 20. 14 minus 6 is 8. 14 divided by 2 is 7. And notice how this is just 7. It's not 7.0. And this is an important distinction, and I'll get into division after I talk about the modulus operator. And then 14 times 2 is 28. And then this weird modulus operator, when we use 14 modulus 3, we get 2 back. So what modulus does is it's basically division. So 14 divided by 3, it goes through each time. So 3 times 4 equals 12. That's the lowest amount that 3 can go into 14 before it goes over. And then once it gets to 12, it checks the remainder. So there's 2 left over. We're 2 away from 14. So that is that 2. The 2 is the value returned from the modulus operator is always going to be the remainder of whatever the division is between the number on the left and right side. So it's just the remainder of division. That's all it really is. But it's helpful. You'll find modulus used a lot with 2 because it's helpful to check if something is even. So if something's even and you use 14 modulus 2, then there's no remainder since it's even. So a lot of times you'll see people checking if something modulus equals 0, then you know it's even. Otherwise, it'll be 1, and then it's odd. So I want to look into division a little bit here, and you'll see some funky stuff go on. I'm going to do a couple copies here. I do x divided by 13, then x divided by 7. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. And so, of course, 7 is the remainder of 14 divided by 2. And then when 14 is divided by 13, it equals 1. But we know that it doesn't go into 1 evenly. There's a remainder there, so there should be a fraction. But when you divide two ints, it truncates the decimal point. So it basically just drops the decimal point, it cuts it out, and you're left with just the int representation, the whole number representation of that division. And then again, when you're doing 14 divided by 7 equals 2. And then one last thing I want to show is if you do a number divided by a bigger number, and they're both ints, then you get 0. Again, because it's 0 dot whatever when you do that division, but it truncates that decimal point, so it disappears. So that's something to keep in mind when you're using ints. It's always going to keep the whole number representation when you divide.